Hey everybody, this is Trader Steve with the weekend update. It's Sunday, the 8th of June, and we had the jobs report come out Friday, and it wasn't too horribly bad, but it's showing weakening. And I think next month, when all the June reports start coming out, we're going to see a lot more inflation and weakness in jobs. And then I guess the pressure on Jerome to cut rates will increase. But that is next week. Right now, we're just looking at the QQQ on a weekly chart. And you see we're almost back up to the February highs, but the range is tight. You know, there's just not a whole lot of money to be made playing zero-dated options and, you know, that right now. I'm going to go down here to the 15-minute chart. And, you know, right here, when it blows out, this is Friday the 30th. You know, we ran into it, and then I guess Thursday was the high, but you have to buy this right, or you're just not going to be making a ton of dough, and you had to buy a little time here. So it's getting hard to have a big move in these index options that trade every day, which I really like them sometimes. But we're going to go back to the weekly. And now I'm going to go to the hourly chart. It hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band here, but here's our Friday. This is kind of chart I'm working on right now. I'm just waiting for it to drop below the Bollinger Band and see if we can hit some buyers, and that's where I will be popping into some QQQ or SPY day or two out options. So I'm going back to the weekly chart, and we're looking at the SPY. It looks just like the QQQ, same stuff. The IWM is finally catching a bid. I guess they're wanting some interest rate cuts. But, you know, I just think that inflation numbers and more weakness in the job market's coming out next month. So we've only got about a 3-week window here before I think things are going to start going south. So the trades I'm going to talk about here shortly are going to be more longer term trades. I do have one option trade we're going to talk about, but let's get at it. Here's the diamonds. You know, it's trying, but it doesn't look nearly as good as the QQQ or SPY. And here's the transports. Now the transports, that's a nice weekly candle. So I'm looking at Delta to buy some Delta. I'm going to try to ride this up for about a 10% move, but I'm buying the stock. And the reason I buy the stock, this is kind of a, you know, not a great option trading. I mean, you can, but it's just not it's not fast enough, so to speak. And I feel like I don't have enough time. And so if I can buy the stock and get a 4 or 5 point, maybe 6 point ride here in the next 3 weeks, I'll take it and pop out. Now we're going to the TLT. You know, the TLT still flirting down here at the lows. And, you know, if I've got an alarm set up here at about 82.34, and if we start breaking down here, I'm going to probably start going short. So it's that and the Dixie, the dollar. I think we're going to be in some trouble here in a few months on these. And I'm keeping alerts out. Like on the dollar, I got alert at 98. So if it starts breaking down, you know, especially the dollar, that's going to be even more inflationary. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get a good news feed and get a bump. I don't know. But this market is all about headline news, and with the guys in the White House and, you know, all that kind of stuff, you just don't know what you're going to wake up to the next day. Here's gold. Now, gold's showing some weakness because I guess the jobs numbers weren't as bad as everyone thought. And so it's kind of getting a sell-off, I believe. And I'm wanting to get back into the NUGT trade, which is a levered ETF on the gold miners. And I've got an alarm set up here at 66. And if I go to the 4 hour here, if I start getting down below the 28-day moving average in here, I might, you know, sell some puts because I want to get back into this, but I'm looking for a sell-off much like this where I get down here and I start turning up and I see some reversal candles like this nice reversal candle here on the 16th of May. And until then, I'm just kind of patient, watching, seeing what happens. Here's the semis. You know, they kind of look like they've kind of run their way here for a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, it could break out here, but I think there's a little better money to be made elsewhere, but we'll see. I got my eyes open, and, you know, I like trading the old Soxel, and we'll see. I'm just waiting for an opportunity. Here's Apple. Apple's got a decent weekly candle, and I've got some alarms set up. If it breaks above 206.66, I think I'll go long. If it breaks down below 199, I'm going to go short. They've got problems, and it's all tariff related, Chinese manufacturing, and the president's mad at Tim Apple for not making iPhones in America, but we'll see. Bitcoin looks like it's topped out for right now, so I'm not going to be playing my go-tos, which are coin and MicroStrategy, because, you know, I don't trade Bitcoin directly. There's just not a lot there. Like, here's the futures, 9,000 options, futures contracts traded Friday. Big deal, you know. Here's MicroStrategy. You know, you can make some money in this stock. Same with coin. You know, I guess when Circle gets posted up here, maybe we'll do that. But right now, I don't want to play with them. But this is an option trade that I put on Friday. Here's Salesforce. You know, we had an earnings report, kind of sold off. You know, here's a reversal candle. This is the weekly chart. You know, it got down some, and the buyers came in. And everyone's going, it's an AI stock. So I'm looking for a run, maybe to 300, 290, something like that. So what I did is I bought the, I bought the expiration of June 20th, 280 calls. And I bought them like for 250. I didn't buy many of them, you know, because I'm not running with the index and I'm kind of sketchy about what's going to happen next month. So I will add, if this bounces back, I'm going to go here to the 4-hour, no, the daily chart. And well, that's the option. If this thing kind of comes back here, doesn't break the 9-day moving average, like 270 or so, I'm going to load up the rest of, you know, what I want to allocate to this trade. I'm going to be in it for a week or two. We'll see what happens. And I don't trade Salesforce much. It's just not, you know, a great mover. You know, it's kind of a slow stock. But we'll see. It's kind of set up. Maybe it's a laggard and we'll actually get back up here to the 290, 300 range. And it's still actionable, you know, on the weekly. And if we have weakness Monday, Tuesday, you can pop in. And so that's the option trade for the week. And the next thing I want to look at is pharmaceuticals. You know, they're showing some life. Here's the PPH. That's a nice weekly candle showing it's trying to go higher. And here's the XLV. So I'm going to be buying some XLV. This is the healthcare sector ETF, probably been smoked because of United Healthcare. But I'm going to take some of this down this coming week, and I'm buying stock or deep in the money calls. I haven't decided yet, but we'll talk about that more this week. And here is another one I'm buying. I'm buying Novo Nordisk, and it's showing some life, and hopefully I'll get a 50% retracement back up here to 101. But I'm buying stock or in the money options. I haven't decided which. And I think healthcare will hold up compared to, you know, buying tech and stuff when the next disaster comes out of Washington or whatnot. But who knows? Maybe Xi and Trump will hold hands and everything will be just fine after the new trade deal. But I really don't think that's going to be the case. But I may be wrong, but I don't want to get in the middle of that. So I'm going transports, and I'm going healthcare, and I've got option trade and Salesforce. And where is the transports? Here it is. So the transports, got an engulfing candle here. And so I'm going to be looking at Delta, buying the stock, 5-point ride. And that's about all that's going on. I mean, we're in a real tight range on the indexes. They've kind of been a snoozer, and you got to buy time. It's hard to make money just buying the dailies unless you're intraday. And, I don't have time for that. I run a business, and it just takes too much focus right there. But in time, I'll be there in time. So that's it for the weekly update, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk about the option trades and buying the stock later this week as it goes on. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and take care.